Hai, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Fani Agusriza. My number ID is 2103050022. And I class K1. After reading the journal, I got information about it. The journal title is Analyzing the Speaking and Writing Competence of an Indonesian Student in the USA, a Case Study. Okay, the journal is Journal of English for Academy. Consists of 33 references, consists of 15 pages, volume 9, number 1, February 2022. The authors Delvia Rosa, Universitas Muhammadiyah Riau. Keyword Sales Murcia, Communicative Competence, Speaking and Writing. Okay, analyzing the speaking and writing competence of an Indonesian student in the USA, a case study not long after the proclamation of freedom in Indonesia, English was cautioned as the first foreign language in the country instead of Dutch, the language of people of Netherlands who ruled Indonesia for countries. Mr. 2005, the reason was because Dutch was the language of colonialists and it did not have an international study as English. Lauder 2008. Given this fake, English has been taught at school, becoming one of compulsory subject and treated similarly with Indonesian language or Bahasa Indonesia in the school curriculum. However, English in Indonesia is still viewed as a difficult language to learn due to the different structure and grammar from Bahasa Indonesia. The way it is spoken and written has become the primary problem of Indonesian students in learning English. Furthermore, the diversity of dialect and cultural background of people across Indonesia also makes it difficult to learn. Gupran 2009. Since Bahasa Indonesia is also used as the national language, there is no reason for the people to learn the language. Siregar 2010. Abrar M. Mukminin 2016 also stated language barrier was one of the biggest challenges for them who pursued their degrees in the English-speaking countries. It affects their performance in the classroom in discussion due to their limitation in vocabulary, grammar, accent, and fluency. In terms of writing, Adnan 2009 in his research argued that language transfer from the first language to the foreign language in writing English language journal might cause Indonesian researchers to get rejection. The reason of the rejection was their writing in English was still influenced by their first language. Discourse pattern. Based on the problem mentioned at a case study was conducted to evaluate the communicative competence of researchers who is studying in the United States. In the study, it is expected to perceive his strengths and limitation in terms of 6 communicative competences, or CC, as suggested by Sales Murcia 2008. In speaking and writing. In the theory of communicative competence, was coined by Del Hyman in the 1960s and emphasizes that grammatical rules are not enough to produce the speaking and other language skills which enable communication. In 1995, Sales Murcia et al. 1995 proposed that linguistic competence, strategic competence, social linguistic competence, action competence, and discourse competence were parts of CC. Nevertheless, in 2008, she revised the proposed parts of the CC into socio-cultural discourse, linguistic, formulaic, interactional, and strategic competence. The method, setting, and participant. The participant of the study was a 33 years old researcher working in one of government institution in Indonesia and was studying in a university in the United States. He used Bahasa Indonesia, both a home and word, but spoke English during his study in the US. He began studying English when he was in junior high school and has spent more of his time in Indonesia. The author chose this participant because 1. His mother tongue was not English. 2. His major was not English. 3. He began studying English from the beginner level. 4. He was studying abroad. And 5. Due to his job, he wrote a journal and joined conferences. Previously, the participant has taken 12 EBT when he applied for university entrance and achieved 82. It meant that he was considered to be at advanced level. The reason why he has still studying English was that as a researcher, he must read and write English journal as Okamura 2006 states. Scientific research findings must be written and published in English, even if the researchers are from non-native English-speaking countries. Since he lived in the US, he had to communicate with the local people in English. When the participant was in junior high school, he was taught to memorize number of vocabulary. He thought that such learning strategy was difficult for him when encountering some low-frequency word which he didn't know the meaning yet. Laufer 1977 argued that according to many teachers, vocabulary is secondary important in teaching as there are two ways of learning it, causing and using dictionary. Lawson and Hochban 1996 also suggests that the learners should conduct analysis by elaborating and construct complex words in order to produce subsequent recall. Relates to this statement, the participant agreed that the teacher should have used difficult vocabulary in sentences so he would have been able to understand and use communicative method instead of memorizing. Because using English means to communicate and comprehend communication. Based on his opinion, memorizing isn't effective in teaching English. Young 2011 support the argument that such memorization is time-consuming and can be quickly forgotten. Instead, the learners are taught to memorize. It helps with the dependence of the learners, but is used and recommended at the time. The participant felt like communicating in English was challenging. When communicating with local people, there was a fear that even though they understood that what they had said, they didn't understand what he had said or what opinion or idea he had delivered, especially in classroom discussion. However, he was trying to speak with gesture and the help of this body language, indeed body language and gesture of strategic competence in sustaining communication, compensating for limited knowledge and helping improvement. Savignon 1983. Data collection and analysis. To collect the data about the participant ability in speaking and writing, he has given spoken and written tasks in the IELTS like that format. Karim and Hab 2014 believe that the speaking IELTS test is suitable for test takers. In collecting the data for the speaking task, the researcher employed the Skype application to conduct an interview due to the considerable distinction between the researchers and the participant, according to Gubrium and Holstein 2001. Online interview has great advantage as the cost is lower and is accessible in terms of location and time. However, it also has the technical challenges in the implementation which can be problematic, such as bad signal, broken sound and noises. For the writing task, the authors send participants the test material via email, and the data obtained was in the form of Microsoft Word. The spoken data was transferred into a transcription, and after all of the data has been collected, the competence of the learner was analyzed based on the definition of competencies proposed by Sales Mosia 2008. All in all, the online interview and the test material delivery done via email were done successfully and considered the most convenient and affordable instrument for the data collection. Okay, finding and discussion. Speaking task evaluation. The researcher conducted a virtual interview which the participant through Skype, which was successfully recorded. The video format was advantageous as it recorded both audio and visual interaction between the researchers and the participants, who saw reduction with constraints in transcribing. Hannah 2012. Socio-cultural competence. Refer to Rivera's 1984 notion and the discourse competence of a learner is their ability to unify words either in a spoken or written context. Linguistic competence. Some grammatical and lexical errors were produced by the participants, such as subject and verb agreement, tenses, part of speech, clauses, and common errors in construction sentences. Formulae competence, international competence, strategic competence, writing task evaluation. The written data given was two models of IELTS like writing test, academic and general training tests. The tests were sent by email and they were answered that typed by the participant in the format of Microsoft Word. The written data was taken by this method due to the distance between the author and the participant. Sociocultural competence. In the written task, the participant mentioned Health Jakarta in academic writing. Part 2, which indicates his background. He explained the situation related to the social and cultural experience that he had there. The other place mentioned was Raja Ampat Islands. Mentioned is in General Training Writing or GTW Part 2. South mentioned 1995 state that historical background and knowledge of life and tradition could be one factor in a successful and comprehensive communication. Discourse competence, formulae competence, linguistic competence, interactional competence, strategist competence. Okay, The last conclusion, the study focuses on the analysis of the communicative competence of an Indonesian student who is studying in one of universities in the USA. The main focus was in the speaking and writing competence. The competences were evaluated by the theory of communicative competence suggested by Sales Moria 2008, which consists of sociocultural competence, discourse competence, formulaic competence, linguistic competence, interactional competence, and strategic competence. The theory of CC is assumed to be engaged with knowledge, skill, and human action. Rivera, 1984. Through data analysis, it can be concluded that the participant demonstrate well in CCs, both in the speaking and writing, despite some limitation found in his work, especially regarding grammar, which is related to linguistic competence. Okay, that's all for me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.